Welcome to the For Love and Money podcast, the show where business and social purpose meet to inspire a movement for positive change. Here's your host, Carolyn Butler-Madden.
Today's guest is Ash Rosshandler, a thought leader in corporate social responsibility and the founder of GoodCompany, Australia and New Zealand's largest unified platform for workplace giving, volunteering, fundraising and rewards. Under Ash's leadership, GoodCompany has driven over $100 million in impact through donations, volunteering and corporate engagement, helping thousands of charities connect with much-needed support. Ash has been at the forefront of social innovation, creating Australia's first charity gift card and the GoodCompany Volunteer Mystery Bus. And he loves giving solutions that empower companies like Optus, ANZ, CSL, NBN and Medibank to align their business strategies with social good. He's a champion for scalable social impact, and he is dedicated to helping companies become forces for good. In this interview, Ash shares his background and what led him to do what he does today as CEO of GoodCompany. We get into how important it is to employees to find meaning in their jobs. We also talk about the role of volunteering, including some of the personal expectations that come with it. He explains the benefits that GoodCompany can bring to businesses, charities, and individuals, and he shares some of the initiatives that GoodCompany has created. My personal favourites, the Volunteer Mystery Bus and Chooseday. Enjoy. Ash, welcome to the For Love and Money podcast. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Very excited.
This is going to be an interesting conversation to get into. I'm looking forward to it. I will give you the question I give every guest, the first question, which is, in your view, is there a role for love in business?
1,000% there is.
Love that start.
Absolutely. You know, as a founder and a CEO of a small business myself, I want my people to love what they do, want them to love their job desperately, because when people love their job, you know, they're happy, they're engaged, they're excited. They'll go the extra mile, they'll come up with innovations, they'll problem solve, and they'll be engaged. So 1,000%, I want them to love their work, and business has a role to play in that.
Yeah, brilliant. And people want to love their work, don't they?
1,000%. Did I say 1,000%?
Yeah, you said 1,000%.
10,000%. Let's
a
up it
million
a little
percent.
bit.
A million percent.
And what's interesting, you know, some of the studies around it too is there are, you know, 75% of people who are satisfied with their work. There's 30% who hate their work. The percentage who actually love their work, I would say, are a subset of people who are satisfied. But what also is interesting is at different ages, their love of work. So younger folk, and it totally makes sense, a lot of them don't love their jobs because they're checkout people, washing cars, they're bussing tables, they're at bars, they're drivers. So that love for the work, I think, goes in a sort of exponential curve a little bit, the data shows. So when they're middle-aged, they really seek opportunities that they know that fit them and their style and their worldview and what they want to bring, their skills and talents, and where they want to invest their time. And what's fascinating is actually as they get older, 60, 70, the percentage of people who love what they do continues to grow. And that's when they might go into volunteering or they might go into other efforts. And they're in the twilight years and they're looking at their health and they're looking at their friends around them and they're saying, okay, if I am going to work, I really now want to be doing something that brings me some joy.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? And even like wealthy, successful people, you know, who have made potloads of money in their twilight years tend to go, okay, I now want to give back. I now want to contribute my time, skills, insights into something that feels worthy, but they wait to the end.
So, some of them wait to the end. which is hopefully there's a bit of a mindset shift on that, and successful people now, your Canvas of the world, are looking at their most productive years and saying, how can I marry up, the work that we're doing with doing some good for the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, my father's generation, he sees a lot of his friends now who have retired and are just lost. So I think, those that do find some opportunities to volunteer and give back, there are studies that say, it makes you live longer, like healthier, more engaged, longevity benefits. So there are all those rich benefits there for the taking.
And do you think, you talked about younger people who are in more sort of entry functional jobs, which, they don't necessarily love, but clearly young people are more engaged in wanting to do, wanting to figure out how to create positive impact in the world.
Yep.
Do you think that's because they just see the enormity of problems ahead of them and feel that, they need to step up and solve them?
Yeah. Well, I think what's interesting is like those young people in jobs that they don't love is so critical, though, to character building. If you're doing a job you don't love as a 20-year-old, then it really concentrates your mind on what are the skills, what are the courses, what do I need to do now in my life before, I'm doing a job like this for the next 20 years. So I think it's wonderful that some jobs don't give you love. I think it's wonderful that some jobs are horrible and painful and teach you about, what you don't want to do and really focus your mind and your energy on your hunger towards what you do want to do and what will be fulfilling. But your other point about young people's desire to do good, I think that's testament to probably the change in schooling, to social media, to more awareness of social issues and problems. But I've got another scary sort of theory, which I don't love, which is it possible that each generation just wants to be a counterweight to the generation before them, or a counter argument to that? That's a concern of mine. So you've got the 40s during the war, destructive, dangerous, scary time. Then the 60s, Love Children came out, with the optimism. And then the 80s was all about greed. It went the other way, going, these 60s hippies, I want to go to Wall Street and make some money. Then the 2000s came and maybe it shifted the other way again with the GFC and people thinking more about the environment and what they're going to do next. And I just wonder whether it's a generational thing, having 3 kids of my own, that part of your independence and finding yourself is saying to the world, I'm not going to be just like mum and dad. Yeah.
I think it's a fair point. I think, the world goes in cycles, right? And generations. But I think it's it depends. It depends. I don't know. Let's watch this generation and see where they go. Because I think this is a particularly interesting one because of where we are.
Yeah. Yeah. And with its own unique challenges. And just as a parent, getting your kids off a mobile device and reading books. And, it's definitely a challenging time, but there are some wonderful young people everywhere doing amazing things. And so I'm quite optimistic and hopeful. But yeah, I think to your point, let love rule, Love can do amazing things. So whether it's in business, relationships, friendships, what are we doing here if not for love?
And 2 quick points, and we will get into Good Company because I'm excited to share your story with people, but this is just such an interesting conversation. The first one, personal story. So my daughter, my background is marketing. So I think like you were in marketing as well.
Yeah, yes.
But I had 30 years, 10 years in London, 20 years in Sydney, running my own agency for 18 years, working for big corporates. And running an agency, oh my God, like it was a roller coaster ride, right?
Uh-huh.
And so my daughter grew up seeing me, and I was the main income earner in the family, and I was absent a lot of the time. And she just saw the stress involved. And I loved what I did, but it was stressful. And when she was in year 10 or 11 and she was thinking about careers, she actually said, "Hey, Mum, I hope you don't mind, but I'm not going to follow your footsteps because I've just seen how freaking hard it is. And the payback isn't good enough." And I said, "Yeah, that's fair enough." And at the time, I was actually planning my pivot into what I was doing now. And I kind of got the proposition almost as a visual homepage on the website homepage. And I turned it to her and I said, "What do you think about this though?" And her eyes widened and she just went, "Oh my God, yes, that's what I want to do." And she has followed that track. So she's very purpose driven. You know, she's volunteered for Sea Shepherd and they sent her to the Faroe Islands to video the massacre of the pilot whales and things like that. She's now working for a B Corp certified video production company. But like, so that what you just talked about, the cycles, you know, my personal experience was she looked at what was not good.
Yeah.
From what I've been doing, but it wasn't a rejection of everything I'd done for the sake of, you know, new generation, new way of doing things. It was looking at, you know, what wasn't good and wanting to learn from that and do better. So
fantastic. She sounds wonderful. You must be very proud.
Yeah, I am. But I thought that was interesting. And the other thing I wanted to share was there is a TED Talk by someone called Bea Bocalandro. She's in Canada, I think. And she talks about job purposing. Okay. So, you know, the fact that going back to that point you made about young people in, you know, low level entry jobs, character building, yes, but you just got to grit your teeth and do it. But she shared some examples. And one was a guy who was a parking inspector, a car park attendant.
Mm-hmm.
And he turned a boring job around to one that he absolutely loved because he decided to use his job to make sure that everyone's tires and car was roadworthy. So he would check all these tires and he felt fully fulfilled in his job because it connected to something that he felt was worthwhile. So
wonderful.
Yeah, it's interesting how you can actually look differently at a job. But let's get into Good Company. So actually, no, before we get into Good Company, first, if you could tell our listeners what Good Company is briefly, and then I want you to give us your backstory and tell us how you came to be where you are today with Good Company as CEO.
Okay, so Good Company is a good company. And what we do is we connect corporates to charities to do good. So that's through volunteering, donating, fundraising. It's a hybrid of a charitable foundation and also a tech company. So the charity foundation does what it does best, which is taking funds from the public and passing them on to DGR1 charities. And the tech company does what it does best, which is building beautiful software that is bespoke and customizable for large corporates so that they can offer their staff a wide variety of charities to choose from, where they can do payroll giving, they can volunteer, they can do fundraising pages, and they can collect all the data and all the good and all the impact in the one spot. So how I got to Good Company, a lot of happy accidents, I guess, along the way, but born in 1974 in Melbourne. So it makes me 50 years old this year. I went to Mount Scopus Memorial College. So for those of you who may or may not know that, that's the biggest Jewish day school in the Southern Hemisphere. So I finished there, graduated, went to Monash Uni, where I did a double degree in accounting and philosophy. So
that's wait, what?
Yeah. Yes, that
You
was
sound
odd.
like you might have been a bit conflicted, torn.
Yeah, yes, yes. But funnily enough, that kind of then mirrors, what I've to do today, which is good company.
Yeah.
So it's a mix of the good
Yeah, I love it.
philosophically, what is good? How do we do more good in the world? And company being sort of the accounting, maybe a bit drier, but like, how do you keep in business? How do you keep profitable? How do you keep sustainable? So yeah, I did my degree in accounting and philosophy. And then, like you, I ended up in Adelaide for about a decade. So I'd done a million odd jobs before that. And then I did what's called a ward school, where you put together a folio. I was about 99 at the time, 1999. And I was still in Melbourne. And the people who worked in Adelaide said, if you're really serious about getting a job, you should go to Sydney because the Olympics are coming up. And that's where all the ad dollars are being spent. So I packed up my Hyundai XL Sprint and put a few clothes in the boot and drove up to Sydney and walked the pavements and found a job and found another job and ended up working, for a long time as a copywriter. So you're writing jingles and headlines and long copy and short copy and selling a whole lot of shit to a whole lot of people who probably don't need it. But then on that journey, did some ads to Red Cross and the Heart Research Institute and just fell in love with this really, vibrant space of how do you put your creative talents towards good. So I was really, my heart was set on that. And then I kind of came up with the idea for a charity gift card after seeing An Inconvenient Truth and learning that we're using two planets and none of this is really sustainable. So I had a gift for a friend for their engagement party and got into a debate with my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, about where this gift would end up. It was a vase and it would kind of end up in landfill eventually, and thought, why not get them a goat from Oxfam or a mosquito net from World Vision? But then thought, maybe what would be better is if you gave someone a charity gift card and let them decide where that money would vest. So fell in love with the charity gift card idea, called it Karma Currency, knocked on a lot of doors. And one of the big banks said, Ash, we'll give you $30,000 if you just leave us alone.
I want you on my business development team.
Yeah. No, I was like a dog at a bone. And so that was enough to get the first iteration of this charity gift card into the marketplace, called Karma Currency. And then I was kind of writing ads at night and doing this during the day and, burning the candle at both ends for a few years till I sort of thought, okay, I need to go all in on this. And we won CSL and we won Origin Energy, clients who are still with us today, wonderful, wonderful clients. And then Optus came to us with a challenge and they said, actually, we don't want a platform just where you can donate. We want one where you can volunteer.
When was this?
This was back in maybe 2010.
Okay.
Yep. Gosh, a while ago. And so we, like a happy accident, at the same time, GoodCompany had been around for a long time. There was a skill volunteer matching platform. We met up with them and they said, look, you specialize in dollars, we specialize in time. What would it look like if we brought them together? And the thing about giving time, talent, and treasure was something that I loved. And so we merged with GoodCompany and recreated the platform and then grew that to where we are today.
Yeah, wow. And so that was back in, what did you say, 2010?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think I read that yours is Australia's largest workplace giving platform.
The largest unified workplace giving platform. So that is across sort of volunteering, donating, fundraising, charity gift cards, And I guess what also makes us large or a great offering is that not only can you give to Oxfam, but you can decide where you'd like your funds to go. So is it to a immunisation kit?
Oh, wow.
Is it to, you know, they put up a lot of what we call dollar handles or projects that you can support. So currently we've got over 4,000 of those projects on the site. So there's something for everyone.
And tell me more about, because there are a few of these workplace giving platforms. I mean, so I'm keen to understand the point of difference. Being a unified one is one. What are some of the other things that make you unique?
Yeah, so in the market, there are other organisations that might do the payroll giving, but for volunteering, they'll sort of plug into another platform, and fundraising, they'll plug into some other ones. So what makes us unique is we do it all under the one roof, which I think with cyber security and data, where's my data stored and everything else becomes quite important or absolutely critical rather. And, you know, we're proudly Australian-based and Australian-developed and Australian-owned, which makes us special. And the other thing is, I think our charity gift cards are quite unique. But more than that, we've got a whole lot of other wraparound services. So we've got the GoodCompany Awards, we've got Choosedays, which emails that go out every single Tuesday, encouraging people to do more good.
Do you just want to? Choose. Okay, I thought you might need to quantify, but you haven't got a speech impediment. You're saying Tuesday.
Every Tuesday is a Tuesday. So that is where we send out messages encouraging people to choose to sleep better, sleep longer. And what are the benefits of getting a healthy night's sleep? And then also attached to that, we'll talk about some of the charities on our platform that actually work in you know, areas of insomnia or mental health, or encouraging people to drink more water. What are some of the health benefits about that? So choose to drink more water. Better for your liver, better for your skin, better for your brain. And also, by the way, there's 1 billion people that don't have access to clean water. So if you want to support that, here are a bunch of charities on our platform that can do that. So I think this is leaning into, you know, what is it to be a good company? Is it just giving, or is it, you know, the health and well-being of your people?
Yeah.
And resilience of your people? And yeah, we've done about 200 Tuesdays and we never run out of material.
Yeah, wow. That's really unique. I love that idea. And so how often do you do it? Do you do it every Tuesday?
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday you put a theme out.
Yep.
And it's about what's in it for, you know, like the drink more water. So it's about the benefits to you personally,
yes,
as well as an educational component about impact for others.
So if you go to goodcompany.org, you can look at the blog section and you can, scroll through them. They're wonderful.
And what sort of engagement do you get in those? I love the idea.
Yeah, we send it out to 3,000 people.
Yeah.
And the next challenge is actually, or the next job to do is to embed it into the platform. So it will send to staff at Optus or Mirvac or MBN or Medibank or Bupa or, you know, any one of our wonderful clients, and that staff can sign up to that newsletter. So that is a 2025 project.
Yep.
And we've got lots of other ones, but that's definitely something we want to deliver.
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant. Tell me about the Volunteer Mystery Bus.
Oh, the Mystery Bus. We love the Mystery Bus. So it was borrowed a little bit by, was it the Qantas Mystery Flights or the Ansett Mystery Flights? Do you remember that?
That's a blast from the past.
That's a blast from the past, isn't it?
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, that a mystery flight was basically you pay $50 and rock up to the airport and not know where you're going. And before, you know, Mona was in Tasmania, like a lot of people went to Tasmania and went, what are we going to do here? I love Tasmania. I'm just kidding. And those were the mystery flights. And just, our tagline at Good Company is giving solutions. So we're always really keen where we find problems, how do we give solutions and also giving solutions, like giving back solutions. So for, the better part of 15 years or something, we've seen the problem for corporates in volunteering is always who's going to organise it, where are we going to go, how are we going to get there, how are we going to get back, how do we capture the day, and when they try and execute on it, finding the right charity, finding the time, negotiating, is there a budget, going back to your staff and staff are like, oh, I've been there before, or it's too far, it's too near. Can't we do something on a hill? Can't we do something underwater? That's another thing, Carolyn, like when people want to do good, they kind of lose their minds a little bit.
They want to do good on what they think is good.
Yeah, or just the pragmatism that maybe people apply to a business decision, just that part of sometimes that part of their brain switches off because their heart is screaming so loudly, we need to do this, we need to do that. And if they're being more pragmatic, then they say, okay, we want to do good, but let's get some professional help to do this.
Yeah.
So the challenge there about finding the right time, place, event, activity, insurance for corporates is a challenge. And then on the other side, for charities, they've got all the headaches of companies saying there'll be 10 people and then 3 people come, or companies saying we'll do it on the 15th and then they want to do it on the 19th, or telling a company it's going to cost you $1,000 and then having to negotiate with them for 6 months about whether that's value or not. So the mystery bus solves all that. It's like beautifully branded. My wife did the branding design on it. It looks like the Scooby-Doo mystery bus.
It looks amazing. I saw it. It looks fabulous.
It's great. And then you just rock up. Everyone goes on. We go to the area of greatest need. We talk about what is the area of greatest need. Everyone gets a little sticker and talks about, you'd say, my name's Carolyn and I care about. So what do you care about?
What do I care about? Business as a force for good is what I care about.
Exactly. So we go, okay, business is a force for good. And why is that? And you would talk to that and your experience and what brought you there. And everyone on the bus starts sharing. There was someone on the bus last week and they cared about the Stroke Foundation. Why is that? Because their husband had a stroke 2 months ago. And everyone on the bus is like, oh, I thought you had COVID. Like, I didn't know where you went.
Yeah.
So people share all sorts of wonderful stories about what they care about. And then we go to the area of greatest need and have an incredible experience, and you get lunch and you get videos and we all go home on the bus and sing songs, and the net promoter score is like 95. It's huge.
Yeah, I bet it is. So when you say you go to the area of greatest need, so at that time and place, you identify where the greatest volunteering impact can be.
Yeah. And I mean, that's another beautiful thing I think about the platform is it has not just the bus, but hundreds of other roles that need filling. There's a legitimate need and a legitimate time for either skilled volunteering or team volunteering because jobs need to get done.
Yeah.
Which is exactly the way corporate should approach volunteering. You never approach it from, what do my staff want to do? The approach should always be, what is the need out there in the community?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. That I love the idea of the volunteer mystery bus for a number of reasons, but I love that the whole concept means that people enter into it with an open mind.
You're absolutely right. Spot on the money.
And you do that because that's the concept. And so the opportunity for them to enjoy the experience instantly becomes a bigger opportunity for them to do that because they're not holding on to a preconception of what they think it should be.
Yeah, and that open mind is so powerful. It's so good. We had a guy who, when we said, yeah, what's your name? And then what are you passionate about? And he said, I'm actually passionate about sort of my family first, and then my street, and then my community, and then sort of wider charities. And we sort of said, oh, why is that? And he said, well, I really find like and he actually said himself first. So my favorite cause is myself. And when I'm good, then I can help my family, then I can help my street, then I can help my community.
Yeah, right.
Which is a wonderful answer. And then we said, what do you do for a job? And he's an auditor.
Okay.
And we're like, isn't that fascinating, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because that approach is like you audit yourself and how are you feeling? Do you have the energy to give back? Look after yourself, some self-care, and then you can help others, and that circle goes out. And just like an auditor, you're sort of measuring things, and you should have seen this guy light up. He's just like, I've been an auditor for 20 years. I could never work out like why I'm an auditor, and now it all makes sense.
Wow. Because, yeah, it's a very analytical, like what you described, he said, is very analytical, that me first, and then I can look after the people. Wow. Do you know what
But you said, you got to have an open mind to have some of those moments.
But you're going to, with that concept, you're going to attract people who are willing to have an open mind.
Yeah.
Right? You're targeting people who are willing to have an open mind, because someone who needs to know exactly what they're going to be doing that day is never going to get on that bus unless someone drags them on kicking and screaming, right?
Yeah. But even, I've got a team that run the bus, but to fill my bucket, I'll go on there, at least a few times a year, and, had an experience with pets, the homeless. And initially I sort of thought, oh, pets for the homeless, and like, maybe homeless people have a pet there just so they'll get a few more dollars from people, because I've got like a fluffy animal there. But then when I actually met the organisation and spent a day there, you learn so much about, the safety of a homeless person. So if they've got a dog, they're actually safer on the streets. The common love of animals, and that if you're looking after a pet, you're more likely to get out of bed and, face the day, and all the health benefits of just having a pet that everyone, should be allowed to have. This organisation, if you're, homeless or in between homes, and then the medical condition comes up, they'll look after your pet. So encourage you to get, back out of hospital and back with your pet. And then even environmentally, they talk about pet food that was going into landfill that then they'll take and they'll send it out, on soup vans. So if someone is homeless with a pet, the pet gets that food and it's not going into landfill. I was just like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So many benefits, and caring for a pet, what that does to you mentally, that you're capable of caring for someone, and someone is capable of caring for you back.
Yeah.
Just that, right?
Just that. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. And I love the way you do it, where you ask people what they care about, and that opens the door to personal stories.
Yeah.
Like all listeners of this podcast will know I'm obsessed with stories and storytelling, because it's the key to people's emotions. It's the key to people understanding, having empathy. It's the key to so much. And you've just intuitively facilitated that through the bus experience. I love it.
Just another happy accident. I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, I'm so glad you love it. And when you're in Sydney, right? That's our challenge. We are just based in Melbourne at the moment.
Yeah, right. Okay. So you need clients big enough to justify starting the concept.
We've got the appetite. We need, we need probably, just some locked in contracts around it, and then hit go. But it is, I mean, our core business is the Good Company platform and doing that. And we love the bus, but there is definitely appetite. So we should speak further on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. I'd love to.
Yeah. Great.
Enjoying the podcast? If you're looking for more inspiration, head to our website, thecauseeffect.com.au, for more resources on how you can start using your business as a force for good. Or buy the For Love and Money book. Every copy sold allows us to protect 1 square metre of rainforest.
So you've got clients who've been with you for, 15, 20 years?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
insane.
obviously working for them. Your platform is giving them the ability to give employees what they want. But I'm curious to know, what are the benefits to the company as a result?
The benefits for the company, so many. One is being the employer of choice, right? I know, the cost of living is a definite issue. Everything's going up and it's really tough out there. But incredibly, unemployment is still kind of stuck at 4.5%, 5%. It's historic lows. So the war for talent is something that is a serious thing. And so when you want to attract the best and the brightest, having a platform in place is really important. And then the other cool thing was when we started this, it was all about connecting those that could give with those in need to bring out the best in everyone. And those that could give with the companies and those who were in need with the charities.
Yep.
Pretty simple, right?
Yep.
But over the last 5 years, 10 years, what we've noticed is we're connecting those that can give, which is the charities, to those that are in need, which are the corporates.
And that's on a volunteering and donations and fundraising.
Yeah, because corporates need a purpose. They need a story. They need constant stories, good stories about them, giving back, doing good, being a great place to work. And charities can provide those experiences and stories. But it's really powerful because they're our client base. We've got 2 separate clients. It's a SaaS multi-tenant platform, which is also a marketplace. So you've got the corporates on one side, the charities on the other. So yeah, it's important that both get benefits and both realise the benefits and both have a positive experience with our platform. And then further to that, the other sort of mega trends are around corporates and ESG.
Yep.
And the ASX now having to report on that. So whilst Good Company does a lot of the S, the social stuff, there is the G, the governance, that companies are giving to bona fide charities with DGR status and, trust deeds and constitutions and boards and fundraising licenses and all those boxes to tick. And also on top of the governance, just, the auditing and the audit trail of where the good's been done.
Yep.
And, how many dollars, how many minutes, how many hours to where. And the E, the environmental part too, is companies now having to report on their scope 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
So how can they build in rewards and benefits for their staff that aren't going to add to their scope?
Yep.
And so our charity gift cards that people purchase through the platform, they can be redeemed to charity. They can be redeemed to planting a tree or offsetting carbon. So that's a mega trend that we love. And then also companies, they benefit from diversity and inclusion in that they can say hand on heart, diversity is a fact, inclusion's a choice. And one of the ways that we want to include everyone is by having this great platform where no matter who you are, what your background is, what you care about, we're going to empower you to support those organisations.
So it's individual based, isn't it? So as an employee, I can support any given organisation on the platform, or
Yes, yes. And then where the corporates come in is they might have some preferred charities that they'll
Yep.
highlight on the platform. They may say, we'll match dollar for dollar just to these 5 charities, and these are the reasons why.
Yep.
Because they align with some of their offerings, some of their services, some of the things they want to really shift the dial on. So it's a mix of what's important to your people and what's important to the company.
The balance, yeah.
And the balance, yeah.
Yeah. So, Ash, I'm curious, the individuals who engage with your platform, whether it's through Chooseday, through the bus, through giving, through charity gift cards, what kind of feedback have you had from them on how they feel about it after being part of this?
The feedback we get on the bus, it's very clear because we do, really good feedback surveys there, and that's wonderful. That's sort of between 95 and 100. When people are giving, if they're giving a homeless meal every pay cycle, we notice their commitment and their loyalty. And it's a shame because it's called regular giving.
Mm.
And regular giving sounds like, I eat Metamucil and I'm regular. it's terrible. So, and it's probably our job, it is our job to say, well, you're not a regular giver. You are a superhero, or you could probably come up with some better words.
You're the copywriter. Originally, award school, no less.
Yes. They're, super loyal giver. And what we've noticed is they are rock solid. They continue to give, every pay cycle. So I think that's a wonderful thing. When people volunteer, we've got feedback surveys that they fill in, and we hear stories all the time of companies, getting out of their bubble and going out to different organisations and getting a completely different worldview.
Yeah, I can see that. You mentioned to me before we started recording this podcast, you were talking about skilled volunteering and learning opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were chatting about some of the, the challenges for companies finding the budget sometimes to do some of these activities. And some of the interesting things are, like, if you go to your company and say, can we have a volunteer budget? They'll say, we'll just give you time where there's no budget for that. But if you say, hey, there's a great team building opportunity, we're going to be out there for a whole day, bonding, learning from each other, shared experience, they're quite au fait with that, and they will find budget.
Mm.
So again, with volunteering, if it's not team, then maybe it's the skills stuff. And what we do on our side that we love is we say, here's some skill volunteering opportunities. So what are your skills? Your skills required for the role, but what are some of the skills acquired by the role? So if it's problem solving, if it's leadership, if it's resilience, so then we get feedback on that afterwards saying, did it help your resilience skills? Did it help your leadership skills? And so we're seeing a wonderful correlation there, and people, looking at how do we split some of our L&D budget towards volunteering.
Yeah. I love that. And what I love about it is, this, and you talked about it before, whereas you used to look at it as the charities have a problem and the corporates are providing the solution to actually the corporates have a problem and the charities provide the solution. And I think where you're going with this, or what it seems to me, is there is so much value in the doing, the volunteering, probably not just the volunteering, but there's value, there's development, growth opportunities for employees, and there's value to the businesses as a result, skills development, fulfillment, which then moves to, I love the company I work for because I'm loyal to this company I think what you're doing is amazing. I mean, it currently sits in CSR or ESG in a silo, right? But the benefits are flowing through to the wider business. And I'd love your thoughts on, I don't know, 5 years from now, how could this be powering the business success in a bigger way than this sort of siloed effect of this is a volunteering program and a giving program?
Yes, I think I'm totally aligned on that where the business gets more benefits and where it can start a virtuous circle that they can actually see, bottom line, we are winning more tenders because we can report in a really professional way about how many dollars, how many hours, where the impact is. So we're winning those tenders. We're winning the best place to work because we do this stuff. We are winning net promoter scores with our customers because we've chosen to take all of our key customers out on the volunteer mystery bus, right? So instead of going to the pub, instead of going out for lunch, spending a day with your customers.
Love it.
Not talking shop, just helping.
Love it.
Just sharing stories, seeing our commonalities.
That shared experience.
Shared value, shared experience is absolute gold. And one of the other things I didn't mention was actually we're the official volunteer partner for the Garma Festival.
I saw you posted on that. Yeah, tell me more about that.
So this next year is going to be our third year. In 2025, which is excitingly, it's Garma's 25th anniversary and it's also GoodCompany's 25th anniversary.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is very cool. And we are entrusted to find 100 corporate volunteers to go up to East Arnhem Land for 12 days.
Amazing.
It is super immersive, super educational, wonderful time to get, out of Melbourne in August. It's kind of mind-blowing.
You'd be oversubscribed on that, surely.
We do. Companies want to, there are a few companies out there and on our Good Company Awards, which you can also get to by goodcompany.org, you can see the top 40 companies and how they're giving back. And the top 4 or 5 have unlimited paid volunteer leave.
I saw that. Unlimited.
Unlimited paid volunteer leave. So if you've got a good business case, you can go to your manager and say, I want to get paid for 12 days because I'm going to go up to Garma and volunteer at this festival. So, yes, we've got such a wonderful array of people, different ages, different backgrounds from different companies. And the split's about 60-40 corporate versus non-corporate volunteers for that 100. But that opens up in about Feb.
Yeah, wow.
So applying for that and it's...
I'll put a link in the show notes to, I think you've got a page for the 2024 one. So is there something that people can sign up to?
Yeah. We'll actually put an EOI on there too, an expression of interest, so that we can capture some of that.
Yeah.
And then, and just such an amazing part of the world. And it just blew my mind. They actually call money rupiah.
Really?
In East Arnhem Land.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and that's because they've been trading with the Indonesians for like 1,000 years.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah, wow.
Like little things like that.
There's so much we don't know about our country and especially about our First Nations history. It's extraordinary.
And their worldview about like a Western timeline, like that doesn't really exist. It's like everything happened, will happen, happened before, happening again. It's, spending 2 weeks there is nowhere near enough to even scratch the surface of sort of how much knowledge there is there.
And do you find that with the volunteers that it opens a door to wanting to learn more?
Oh, they love it. They want to learn more. The stories of them sleeping so much better after sort of being on their feet for a day,
Yeah.
And, the ability to set up the festival, work at the festival, help pack down. Because when you get up there, it's pretty bare. And then you see this whole thing come to life. It's really magical. It's great.
Ash, I love what you are doing. I think, the value that Good Company is providing to organizations, I can see its immense value, but I can also see its potential to be even greater and fuel the success of the company even more while supporting, the charities that you do support there. And ultimately, it comes down to the impact on the individuals, not just from their feel good, but from their actually learning more, not just about the charities, when you talk about the bus, learning more about their colleagues, developing a sense of empathy, which has to change the way you work with someone as well.
Absolutely.
There's so much value. Thank you for coming and sharing your story. Before I ask you to close the show with the question, which I will ask you, is there anything else about Good Company that you would like our listeners to know about?
Probably just that we've got a really open door policy. That we stronger and better by engaging with more people who are similarly passionate about, doing some impact and doing some good. So I think, you've probably got quite a few listeners who are excited and engaged and driven to do some good. Someone told me years ago, you can go fast by going alone, but what's the saying? But you won't go far.
Yeah. But together you'll go far.
You'll go further.
Yeah.
So it's only taken me 50 years to kind of learn that, but it's true. So that's what I'd like anyone to reach out, find me on LinkedIn, have a chat, see how we could bring some of your giving solutions to life or collaborate, because we can't do it alone.
And do you have to be a large corporate to be a part of Good Company?
No, not at all. We work with companies of all different sizes. If they're a team of 10, they're perfect to go out on the volunteer mystery bus. If you've got 5 people, maybe you want to send charity gift cards for Christmas. If you're 1,000 people, you want, a platform that can engage all your staff. So we love working with any company that's genuinely, committed to doing some good.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. So I'm going to ask you to close the show with Ash's dream. So, if you could achieve your dream goals over the next 5 years, let's say by 2030, what would it look like?
Well, I've got 4 dreams, I think. 4. So one's for every company to be a good company. That's a pretty big one, actually.
Yeah, love that.
But we do have a Good Company certified logo, which basically means that your company invests in giving back and doing good. So for every company to have one of those, to grow the Good Company Awards would be fantastic. To grow the Choosedays, emails that go out every Tuesday, and make that a household brand or name would be incredible. And lastly, to expand that volunteer mystery bus so it is running nationally and driving change. So they're the 4 dreams.
Beautiful. Ash Rosshandler, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I've loved it.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the For Love and Money podcast. If you'd like to take a deeper dive into the purpose movement, visit us at thecauseeffect.com.au. And remember, doing good is good for business. So if you're not doing good, then what are you doing?